welcome to Grace Speaks, a Grace Church podcast. I am your host, Alexa Stark, and I have with me one of our other hosts,
Katia Gonzalez.
But today she's going to be a guest, not a host. So switching roles. I know, exciting.
On the other side of the table.
Yeah. I'll be asking her questions about serve teams.
Yeah.
So, and like what it means to serve, what's the heart of service, why should we serve, what's the idea behind serve teams, kind of going more in depth of this cool initiative that we're launching. Yeah. So, Katia, thanks for joining us in this different capacity.
Yes.
So I'll start with a very basic question. What are serve teams?
So serve teams, they're basically the same. There are, our volunteer teams, a new name and a new kind of drive and mission behind them. Mm-hmm. The reason we're kind of rebranding our volunteer teams is because there is such a great need, not only at Grace, but a lot of churches are experiencing this. But we really want, our church, our community to just be the hands and feet of God and have that heart of servanthood, not like I have to do this, or I have to sign up, or they keep bugging me about this, but to just have that desire and call and, not only to know their gifts and what God has called them to do, but to actively do it. So living out that mission and vision of just serving, because that's what Jesus did. So, yeah.
Yeah, because Jesus came to serve, right?
Right, yeah.
So if we're supposed to be like Jesus, it's kind of like a gift. Like we should serve as well,
Right, yeah. And I always have that image, and like since I've been working on this project, of like Jesus washing feet. And it's just like, I'm sure he wanted to do it, but I don't know if I would want to do it.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And it's like, but that's what his heart was, is like he saw the need and he saw that this is something that could bless someone and love on them. So that's what he did. And he was setting this example before us. So I always just, I don't know, I imagine like, not that that's like a ministry here at Grace, like foot washing, but in a way, like, you wiping a kid's mouth, like during children's ministry, like a dirty mouth, or like cleaning up a mess in the cafe. Like that's, I feel like, a part of that. So there's different ways we could wash feet.
Yeah, I feel like I would have been the Peter in the situation. I'd be like, Jesus, you don't have to wash my feet. And then he's like, but if you don't let me, you know, and then he's like, then to wash all of me.
Right. Give me a bath.
Yeah, just do it.
I know, I love it.
Yeah, because if you think about it, the washing of the feet at that time, and this is kind of a segue, but like they were wearing sandals.
Yes.
Like that's really a little really grimy, but Jesus still did it anyway because he wanted to love on them in that capacity. He wanted to serve them in that way. But also I think because Jesus is kind of like the ultimate leader, and he's like a servant leader, which means he serves his followers, right? So I think in that moment he showed what servant leadership is, because that's kind of what serve teams are. They're like, you're being a servant leader, like, and like you're experiencing that type of leadership, and you're doing that to all the people around you in your teams, or even just that come to church. Maybe they're not on your team, but they're part of your team because they're a Grace Church team, if you think about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And one example I can say, like, even being on staff, I feel like everyone on staff, even like our pastors, like I've seen them like in that like servanthood mentality. Like there are times where like Pastor Cam will help me like with something like so little that I'm like, don't you have to like prep for a sermon, or like it's just like, but like they don't mind taking the time to like help like with the like mundane like little tasks that it does affect us on a Sunday, or like whatever it is. But I in my head I get like, so like, oh, they must be so busy, but like they're willing to like just serve. And I love seeing, I should say, like our staff or pastoral team like serve in the Sunday school room, or like children's ministry, youth group. Like I just see them in all these different like capacities, and like they are taking the time out of their busy schedule, which is already ministry. Like they're already doing ministry, but then they do even more. I just think it's awesome. So yeah.
Well, it's always really like cool to see people use the gifts that they have in the different capacities that are available to them. And there's so many opportunities like everywhere, but specifically at Grace, because this is a Grace Speaks, a Grace Church podcast. So, like there's so many areas of like serve teams and stuff. So
we have, I believe, over 25
Wow.
areas. And some of them, like maybe they don't have such a great need to, incorporate like new volunteers or new serve team members, but there are some that have a greater need and do need like more serve team members. So we have a lot of areas, but
yeah, it's kind of like moments like this where you realize like what it takes to run like a church,
right?
Like what it takes to be a church, I guess would probably be a better way of saying that.
We just like this past week like shared a video, and at the end it says like, we can't do church without you. And
but it's so true,
right? Yeah. Like you coming in, you know, being greeted, you know, being seated at your seat, like the worship team to the tech team, like all the visuals that you're seeing on a Sunday morning, to the coffee that you're drinking, like that's because somebody is taking an hour out of their morning or more, but to make that cup of coffee for you, to say hello to you, to, you know, direct you to the nearest bathroom, like whatever silly thing it is, but they're serving you. And that's why we can't do church without you.
Yeah. And we've kind of danced around this question, so I'll just like ask it.
Okay.
We've kind of touched on it. That's why I'm saying we kind of danced around it, but we're not like dancing around it. You know what I mean? Anyway, why is it important to serve?
That's a good question. Why is it important? Well, one, we did talk about how like Jesus, like that's our example, but it's not like our relationship with God that like people experience. It's like what we do, and I believe that what we're doing is serving, right? So like me serving is what people are gonna experience when they come in through grace, and that's how they experience like the love of God, right? His joy, his peace. They're gonna see that as an example. So me serving, I think, shows others like a part of who God is.
Yeah.
Not only in my like relationship with him, but just who he is, right? Like if I did get down and wash their feet, like that's like a really grand like example, but it could be, again, as simple as just like serving them a cup of coffee and like having a smile on my face and like listening to their day or how their week went, whatever it is. But yeah, I feel like that's what's going to communicate well to not only the outside world, but just the people that come in through our doors that, yeah, they are fellow believers like us, but we also need that encouragement. We also need to have like these examples set before us. So I feel like serving is important because it helps us grow like in our faith and also help others to grow as well and experience who God is.
Yeah, I think you're right too, because I want to say it's in James where it said like your faith isn't by your works or anything like that, but faith without works is, you know, like you're not demonstrating what you believe if you're not like living it out, basically. Like if you're not, like, it's not like your works are going to save you. That's not the whole point of it. It's not like you serve to hope to maybe potentially get into heaven. Like,
we
no,
get the gold stars. We're like, oh, God's like, oh, you got enough gold stars to get it. No, it's not that, but it's just the manifestation of like your faith. It's like your life has changed so dramatically or drastically, or you're just finally realizing like, wow, like this is what it means to live out the faith that I believe. Like Jesus died for me, like he died for me. Of course I want to like love others the way he loves me. You know, it's kind of like an overflow. No,
so I think like that's one way of showing that is by serving and serving others. And I think like you said this actually, like where it's like serving, you're showing others his love for them, and that's what kind of sets us apart. It shows us what makes us different. What makes us different is Jesus, and the love that we have experienced from him, the forgiveness that we've experienced from him, and the redemption that he has like given us. Like all of that is what makes us different. So how do we live that out in our day to day? And the best way to do that is to love others, and by kind of serving them. So you said we have like what, 25 areas, right?
Yes, I believe over.
Yeah.
And I'm saying over 25 because during the year there's certain groups that open, different ministries that are open, you know, during the school year, and then they break for the summer. So as we enter into the summer, we might have like a few left, like a few that are not on the list, but probably by fall there will be added back. Right. So that's why I say over 25. So a little guesstimate.
So like what are some of the areas?
So of course we have children's ministry. I feel like that's our biggest like open need. And we have youth, which is working with like our middle and high school students. And we have our social media team, our tech teams, worship. I'm trying to think of a few like off of my head. I don't have a list in front of me.
There's also guest services.
Yeah, we have guest services. So that's like greeting, ushers, simply like, just opening a door. And
cafe.
Like, we have the cafe area.
I'm also trying to think. Tech.
Yeah, we have tech ministry. We have live stream, which I do.
Yes.
Which is fun. Join the live stream team. But yeah, there's like so many different areas you could serve.
And those are only just some of them because there's definitely more.
Yeah, I was working on the list this morning and now I'm like drawing a blank. But yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. So there's lots of opportunities
yeah.
to get connected and to like use the different gifts that you have.
Yeah.
Speaking of gifts, what if I like don't know my gifts? How do
you find out?
Yes.
That's a great question. So you could go on our app or our website and we have a spiritual gift test that you could take online or a PDF version for you to like print if you're old school like me. I like having paper in front of me. But you could take this online test and, fill out the questions and it will like kind of give you these results of, your top 3 or top few spiritual gifts that kind of resonate with, the answers that you gave during the test and with scripture references to back it up. But there's different areas that God has like gifted us in that we should be using, right? It's like, don't have a gift and then you do nothing with it.
Right.
So it's definitely just a tool that you could use if you don't know what your gifts are, or even if you don't know where to serve. It's like a cool tool to use to just like kind of guide you towards a direction that maybe you didn't know you were gifted in or could do.
That's true.
Yeah.
So what are your gifts?
I actually have administration I think that one's like my top one, in hospitality.
Okay. Yeah,
which makes sense.
Yeah, I
like
can see that.
I kind of knew, but I took the test like for myself and I was like, checks out.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it is what I do already. So like the admin part of it, like for live stream, there's a lot of detail into it, a lot of, prepping for that. And so that's something that I definitely see my gifts being used in. And then also my admin role here at the Randolph campus, of course. And then for hospitality, like I see that with, I'm a part of the MOPS, like small group leader.
Now Momco.
Thank you. Yeah. So now Momco, which stands for Mom Community. But so being a small group leader there, and then I'm also a small group leader for our youth ministry. So I feel like I see that as well. Like I bake goods.
Yeah.
Bring them in. The kids love me. It's great. But just loving people through that. And then we host a lot at our home. So I feel like that's also, So that's
you guys are very nice hostesses.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hosts.
Yeah. Hostess with the mostest.
Hostess with the mostest.
But yeah, I'm just saying all this to give example of like how God has like given me these gifts and how I've seen myself like use them, of course, like through his Holy Spirit leading and him just providing like this awesome community of Grace Church like in our lives. But what about you? Do you know your gifts?
My gifts? I have shepherding.
Yes,
was one of them.
I can see that.
And hospitality was another one. And I feel like the mercy, something like that.
Like
I think mercy I think was the other one.
Yeah.
But I have to go look again because it's been a minute, so I have to see because I can't really remember. But I think it's those three.
I like paper.
Yeah.
I could just like put it in my notebook, go back and be like, oh yeah, these are my gifts. Like, am I like walking out in my giftings or am I doing this? So yeah, no, I totally could see those like for you. That's really awesome.
Yeah. And I feel like, well, like for the shepherding one, I used to be a volunteer in youth small groups as well back in the day. And it was very much taking care of my girls because I had I had them all through like from 7th to high school, like when they graduated. I was like, now they're all grown up. Yeah. And I feel old, but it's okay. Yeah. I love them all. They're doing great. Yeah. And like other areas I can see like the gifting where I was using it too, you know?
Yeah.
And I think actually that's like the coolest part of that is being able to use your gifts like effectively and seeing how they contribute to the body in the way that they're being used. Like it's really awesome to see. Like I also volunteer in Mom Community, Momco. Yeah. And it's so cool to just like be able to like give moms the opportunity to like connect and and all that stuff because I volunteer in the kids section.
Yes.
But it's also really cool to see the kids like grow throughout the year, you know. And it's all because like not all because but I get to use my gifts in this capacity to like provide this space where the moms can connect but also like to allow the kids to grow and to hear about Jesus every day or every other Wednesday, not every day, but you know what I mean?
Right.
And all other areas, like to be able to use those gifts and to just see how those areas are growing and stuff.
No, definitely. And I feel like when you serve not only like wholeheartedly, but also like with the intentions of like, this is for you, God, like unto you, Lord, right? Then I feel like there's just such a blessing in return. Like I don't serve to be blessed, but then it just ends up happening.
Yeah.
Where like you said, you get to see these kids grow up, or like I have like a quick little testimony of our youth ministry. Just they're on break for the summer right now, but right before we ended, we had a small group meeting. And that day, I did not want to go. Like, I'm being honest. I had like a migraine from just like a long day at work.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, staring at a screen could do that.
Oh, 100%.
So I just had a migraine. I came home, had a bad attitude. And even Matthew was like, you could just stay home. Like, I think he just knew. He was like, just don't come to youth group. And he like left early to help Mike set up. And I'm just home. And I don't know, I just had this like, I had a decision to make, or that's just how I view things, but I had this decision to make. Like, I could stay home and do whatever I wanted to do, whether it was like watch a show or take a nap, whatever it was, or I could kind of like switch gears, make dinner, maybe make some cookies because that calms me down, and like go to youth group and just kind of like push through it. And so I decided to do that. I like made a very quick, easy dinner, like made some cookies, which actually made me feel better. I prayed while I was making the cookies. And then I just like got in the car. I felt so much better. Even like I'm not even at youth group yet, but I just felt better that I made that decision. So then I get to youth group. It was like one of the best like discussion nights we had. And at the end of it, one of my girls like pulled me to the side and like shared a testimony about how like youth group has been blessing her in her life. And I remember just like driving home that night and I was like, wow, I almost didn't go.
Yeah.
And I was like, that would have, I don't even know. Like I wouldn't know what I was missing, but it was just the fact that I got to experience all that. I was like, I would have missed this. And I was so glad that I went. But at the same, like I was blessed in that moment, even though like, yeah, I still had my migraine went to like a headache, like lowered, but like still like I wasn't feeling my best still, but I'm glad I pushed through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know.
I think it's true because it's so like it's so human that sometimes you're just like I don't want to go, like I don't want to do this, like I don't
all the time,
like yeah, really. I know it's like I'd rather nap or like go get a snack or something, but I think in those moments it's really important for us to, and I'm not saying it's easy or anything like that, but I think it is important for us to like push through because I think that's like serving is also a bit of sacrificing, but it's for for his glory,
right?
Like it makes me think of what Kenny and the worship team say like before they go on. It's like, not to us, O Lord, not to us, but to your name be the glory. Like everything we do, whether serving or outside of serve teams, so serve teams or out of serve teams, should be for his glory. And I think being able to, like you said, like push through those feelings of like, I really don't want to go, I don't want to do this, I want to do like 20 million other things, pushing through that and then just doing it, I think is important too. And
I feel like those are the best. I always get like the best outcome when I do that, because I don't know, maybe it's the enemy, that's like trying to keep me back, or even my own doing where I just like make myself so busy that it's like, maybe I should have taken a break that day so that like I wouldn't have gotten a migraine or worn my glasses, like whatever it is. Like I think it is also the enemy's tactic of like making us so busy and like, tired. And that's also very like New Jersey culture. Like everyone's so busy here. It's hard to make plans with friends even. Like
I know, because it's like, oh, I'm busy. How about this night? Oh, I'm busy that night. I'll see you like in 3 months.
It's like, I'll see you in 3 months. And it's just like, so this year for MomCo, the theme was like, say yes. And so I've been like challenged with that, right? But it's of course like, don't say yes to everything.
Right, because then you'll never be able to rest.
Right. But it's, the challenge for me has been, what am I saying yes to?
Yeah.
And what should I say no to in order so that I could say yes to other things? And so, for example, like when it comes to like youth group or mom co-meetings, whatever that is, it's like, okay, I need to say yes to that first, because to me, that's more life-giving and that's where I'm called to serve in. And if something's conflicting with that, I have to say no to that.
Yeah.
Or just reschedule, you know? And it's been good. Like, learning that this year. But yeah, good.
That's
tricky.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh yeah. Scheduling. Tell me about it.
I know.
My Google Calendar is very full.
Yeah, I know. I feel that.
But you're right. There's prioritization that you need to do in order to make sure that you're doing what you need to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So kind of, if you could give us what serve teams like look like what's the, procedure around them. How do I join one if I want to join one? Like, no, for sure. What does it look like? What is your serve team vision?
Yeah, my serve team vision is just an easier way for people to just get connected. And so what that means is like all over our platforms, like app, website, you can just go in, fill out the form, and like that would be sent to me, and then I would connect you right away to said ministry head. So for instance, if you're interested in children's ministry, and I hope you are, you would, fill that out, click on children's ministry, and I would send that over to Janice, who
our children's ministry coordinator.
Yes. Thank you. And each ministry has a different like process. So for instance, like you might be an usher or greeter a lot faster than you would be maybe joining children's ministry, because children's ministry has like background checks, and just like a little safety training and info that they give you. You might like shadow a classroom, and there's also within like different ministries, there's different areas of serving.
Yeah, that's true.
So like for children's ministry, I'm just going to keep using that as an example, because it's the best example, but just like, it doesn't mean you have to be teaching a classroom full of kids, but you could be like a teacher's aide or even a hall monitor, someone who checks the kids in. Like there's so many different areas. So again, you might be doing check-in for children's ministry a lot sooner than you would be teaching,
which is a great way to get to meet people.
Yes,
because they're telling you their names, so you can be like, oh, hi, I'm Alexa. I guess I'll use my name as an example here. I'm Alexa. It's so nice to meet you. And then like check them in. Make friends.
And serving is a great way. Like I know it's intimidating when you're new to a church, and maybe even a church of our size, but it is a great way to just get like connected and plugged in right away. Because like you said, you're going to be meeting the parents or meeting like whatever it is. Like if you're a new young adult, like maybe sign up for the serve team for young adults, because then you're just going to get plugged into that team right away and meet all these new people.
Plus, if you join a serve team, you get to meet people who have similar giftings to you.
That's very true.
Which is always cool to see how people use their gifts that are similar to yours or different from yours, and see that in action. Like it's really cool.
No, that is really cool. But yeah, so my vision is that you could get connected just easier. It's more clear. And then another vision I have is that your serve team is your community, but it can also be your small group. So like you said, you're with like fellow people that maybe are on a similar path of life that you are on, similar giftings, similar interests, right? But you're all there for the same purpose, right? Of serving the body of Christ and being the hands and feet of Jesus. So it's, I pray with my, live stream team. I, pray with my small group, all that. Like you just, I don't know, you build this community, right? Like
it is like a small group. You're right.
Yeah, like even the youth group leaders, like we go on a retreat once a year when the kids go to snow camp. We go with them and have our own little retreat time. Like that's building a community, and I feel like we're our own like small group in a way. Yeah.
Well, shout out to Mary Lou, because I'm about to say something. But Mary Lou, who is the Momco.
Yes.
Sorry, the name just changed, so it's getting adjusted to it. But Momco children's coordinator is Mary Lou. She's great, and she does something similar too with all the volunteers before every Momco meeting, before all the kids come, before the chaos reigns. No, I'm kidding. She gathers us together and we just pray, and we'll take prayer requests, and we'll just pray for each other, and then pray for the kids, pray for the moms, and then get started with our day. And it's really nice. It brings us together. It feels like a small group. And that's like how she's been doing it. Because you're right. Like when you serve together in a group or as a team, like you are like a small group because you're all together for the same purpose with the same mission and goals. And that kind of just brings you all together.
Right. Yeah. And then just continuing on to like, you know, what my heart and vision is for our serve teams is like, I really want to have like a night where we can like bless our like serve team members. And so believe it's September. I'm not going to give a date out on the podcast because like it's not set in stone yet, but it will be.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah, keep an eye out. But we're going to be calling it our impact night because
I like that name.
Thank you. Our serve team members, each of you make an impact, not only at Grace, true. But you don't even know the impact you have maybe out in the world. Because you could have just like smiled, said hello to someone, and they decided to like start coming to this church because it was so friendly. Like whatever it is, like you could have prayed with someone and that like changed like the course of their life because of what Jesus did through you, praying over that person. So anyways, I'm calling it Impact Night, and it's just a night where I really like, I want to make it an annual thing where we just bless our serve team members. We encourage you guys. And then there's a time for fellowship. So be on the lookout for that as well, like on our calendars and our, you know, announcements and things like that.
Yeah. I like that you call it Impact Night because it is true that when you serve, you do impact other people. Yeah. Whether you realize it or not.
Yes.
You know, because I think I can think of a plenty of people that have served in serving capacities at Grace that have definitely impacted my life. Like the people who, before I became women's ministry director, the women's team that created the retreats definitely impacted my life and my growth and my faith. And little did I know I would end up as the director of women's ministry. But those women who made it happen, the people who did the worship, the people who put the teachings together, the craft together, all of those women that made it happen impacted my life because I was able to grow deeper in my faith and definitely changed the directory of what I was thinking of what I was going to do. But you never know like the impact. And then I can even go back to like when I was in youth or a children's ministry and think about like the Sunday school teachers I had and the small group leaders I had and think about the ways that they've impacted me in my faith, in my walk, just like in general. And I don't know if they know like to the depth and level that they did, but like it's true. Like you don't realize how much you can impact someone for the better, you know?
Yeah. And there are times and days where I'm like, I'm serving in a way and I'm just like, I don't really think I'm making a difference or like, I don't feel like the kids are connecting with me this week or whatever it is. And then like weeks will go by and like that one night, like that girl will pull me to the side and be like, thank you for what you do because this is what God has been doing in my life. And I'm like, jaw on the floor, like, oh, okay. Like, you know, it comes out of nowhere, but it's also like what God is doing in their own lives. Like, I don't know. And I can't see that. Yeah. So it's just like amazing.
It's like what you said earlier. It's like you serve to bless others, but in reality you get blessed.
Yes. It just happens.
Because it really it does. It's so true because like I love serving because I just I love like being able to do that, but it's so true. Like I feel so blessed when I do, right? You know, like it's just so I don't know, I feel like it's a way of spending time with God. Does that make sense? Because like it feels like if when I serve I'm, you know, spending time with him because I'm serving for him, like for his glory, you know.
No, definitely.
So is there anything else about serve teams that you want to tell us about? Things that you're excited about, anything of those things?
Yeah, I'm just excited to see like Grace, like as a church, we continue to like grow. And I'm not talking about like numbers, but just the fact that like there's more families that are like starting here at Grace and there's more young adults that are coming in and I don't know, just grow in the aspect of like discipleship too. And I feel like joining a serve team definitely will help you with that, help you like not only grow closer with God, but other people who, you know, are like-minded and share the love of Jesus. Right. And so I'm just excited to see like, you know, we launched our small groups last year and now it's like, okay, we're launching now the serve teams. And so I just feel like we're heading in a good and right direction of what God has called us and asked us to do. So I'm just excited to see like the growth that's going to come from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just really excited to see that. I'm excited for the impact night because I just want us to all be under like one roof and just to see like all the hands and feet, right? Like of the body that is serving. Like, I just think that would be really cool. And I'm just excited to like have you guys be all blessed as well and like encourage. But yeah, join a serve team. It's a lot of fun. Like that's another thing. It's just so much fun to do.
Yeah, it really is. And plus you get to make a community around, because like I'm sure with youth, like all the youth leaders, like you all are like have your own community too now, and you're like
inside jokes
that
no one knows about, and we'll like say random things and we'll just start busting out laughing. But it's the best. It's those little things that definitely, it's like our own little small group. I love it. Yeah,
Impact Night will definitely be fun, because I know when we have the community nights for small groups, which is kind of similar but different at the same time, it's always really cool to have other small group leaders in the same room, and they can just swap stories, share struggles, share praises, share all those things. And I think with Impact Night you can do the similar things with other people who are volunteering with you. Like you can also meet other areas that you maybe don't get to see. Like maybe you didn't realize that I don't know, Sue does the tech team, and you were like, oh, Sue, I didn't know you did the projection. Like, that's so cool. Like I do the cafe, and I help set up like the food and stuff. That's so cool. Like I never, like it's really cool to see where other people are serving and what they do too.
No, definitely.
But
I highly encourage you to join a serve team, and you could always reach out to me, come talk to me about it, and I would help you in the best way that I can.
Her email is katiag@graceforfamilies.com. Yes. You can reach out to her there.
Yes. So reach out anytime. I would love to chat.
Yeah. It'll be really exciting to join a serve team and to impact the community in such a way.
There you go.
But that's pretty much it for serve teams. Thank you, Katia, for joining us today
thanks for listening to me
as our serve team captain, if you will.
Yes. One of my many hats.
One of your many hats. So thank you for joining us. And for you listeners, if you're interested in joining a serve team, you can do so through the app or website, or reach out to Katia to get connected and to find out where you can use your gifts that God has given you to serve for his glory here at Grace Church on the Mount. So that's it for us. We'll see you at the next Grace Speaks, a Grace Church podcast episode coming next month. So see you then.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.